Okay, no boobs, no boobs. Now we're talking. No. Today we're power scaling every single xenomorph in existence except one or two hybrids because they're basically more human than xenomorph. This ranks will be based on your chance of survival as a colonial marine going up against one of these creatures face to face. Colonial marines are like the elite human fighting force. Every like on this video is super appreciated because a lot of work went into this video. Also, I just made a channel in my Discord for you guys to submit reaction content for me to check out, which is linked down below. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so there's game over, man, slim chance, and good odds, because the best case scenario you could get is good odds on survival. It's never a guaranteed survival. They're freaking xenomorphs, man, but you have a substantial chance of getting out there. Whereas this one, you could slightly maybe survive if you're lucky, and game over, man, you're dead.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Okay, the Deacon, the creature that appears at the end of Alien Prometheus, that's like the Trilobite mixed with an engineer. It's freaking crazy, but it's necessarily small. What we see in the movie, the one in the movie could be avoided and overcome, just like escaped. That's going right under good odds. Though in the lore, like 200 years later, it morphs into like a freaking mountain, so I don't know. But if you get it that day, then you're good. But as a child, the Deacon in the movie that we see, you can escape it. Okay, the Chestburster, the second form in the Xenomorph lineage. It's anyone could escape one of these necessarily. You just gotta get out of the building before it grows up. I wouldn't recommend stomping on it, however. It looks possible, but that crap's gonna eat through your shoe. But you could absolutely survive it. Okay, the standard drone Xenomorph, like nothing special about it, not any crazy intelligent form, just like the standard soldier. I'm gonna put slim chance because you could escape certainly multiple ways, but like if it confronts you head on, you're probably gonna die horribly. This is as a colonial marine though, so we're well armed in this scenario. So in a front-on confrontation, it'll die. It'll have to use some sort of covert tactics to kill us, which is still possible. Okay, the King Xenomorph is an absolute monstrosity of the species. 0% chance of surviving that in any way, shape, or form. Okay, the Matriarch is, I'm pretty sure, the Queen Xeno from AVP. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that under game over, man. There's pretty much no chance. Okay, the Neomorph from Alien Prometheus, those big gangly white bastards who honestly look a lot like me, kind of weirdly enough. One of these does kill a woman in the movie pretty brutally. It bites her freaking head off, but they are more curious and like new. I don't know. They're just generally less intelligent than xenomorphs as well. Like the only kill one of these things got is sneaking up on somebody. The other person, the captain of the ship, guns this creature down as David attempts to like befriend it. So they're pretty damn scary, but they're not very intelligent. I'm gonna legitimately put that one under good odds. Oh, that one's risky. I don't know. Neomorphs are crazy. They just don't do much in their adult form in the movie. They're quickly overshadowed by the Protomorph. Okay, the Predalien, absolute monstrosity once again. 0% chance of survival. It's not happening, dude. I'm gonna put that one under game over, man, as well. I'm gonna try to keep these in order of the most dangerous, like the most dangerous on the left, going more like easy to survive towards the right. It'll get difficult though. Okay, the Queen Mother's one of the most insane things in the lore I've ever heard of. It could like psychically communicate with people and control their minds and stuff like that. Like it so far exceeds just a physical horrifying threat. It's very clearly under game over, man, but even more weights. Yeah, even more than a king. The Queen, another game over, man, obviously, just because it's a giant freaking Xeno and epic in many ways, is also up here, but under the King, ahead of the Matriarch. Well, it basically is a Matriarch. Things are gonna get fuzzy up here eventually, for sure, because there's so many overlapping different things. But yes, Queen Mother could kill the King, King could kill the Queen. 99.9% sure. Okay, Red is like a mutated Xenomorph gene, whatever. Once like humans took the Queen Mother or the Queen from the Xenomorph planet, like breeding went kind of unchecked. And this red genetic mutation Xenomorph was developed, which is basically just a regular Xeno, just red. So it's basically the same as like any standard warrior Xeno, which I feel like should go under slim chance. Yeah, because it's just a standard drone, but red. Okay, the runners, I'm pretty sure, are when a Xenomorph gets a hold of like a dog. Like it's just a smaller quadruped, easier to kill Xeno. One of these on their own as a colonial marine, I feel like he'd gun it down for sure. There's a chance it'll kill him, but there's good odds he'll survive. Okay, the Tarkatan Xenomorph was the Xenomorph like after a Facehugger impregnated that one dude from Mortal Kombat, which I don't necessarily have ever played Mortal Kombat, so I'm a little confused on that one on his power level. But it's a much bigger, beefier, stronger Xenomorph than like the standard drones. So if the standard drone is a slim chance of survival, this freaking monstrosity is going up here. But I'm Definitely putting them in this order. I feel like a Perdalian could kill him for sure. Okay, the red queen, to my understanding, is still just a queen. She's just the queen of the red Xenos, so she's not necessarily any different than the other queens. Not to be confused with the queen mother, so she's going right next to these other queens. The dark alien was the combination, I forgot the name of the comic, but it's essentially when a facehugger gets a hold of like a demon. It's this near unstoppable creature. It's supposed to be completely unstoppable when it's in like the shadows, but it's much more easy to kill outside of the shadows. I believe it dies in an explosion, so it's like, I suppose if it's a well-lit hallway, you have a general chance of survival. If it's a pitch black hallway, you're cooked, dude. There's no chance. In this, I'm assuming there's gonna be a little bit of lighting, so I'm gonna put slim chance. I don't know, that's so risky. It really depends how lit up your freaking pathway is, evidently. I'm assuming it's gonna be a well-lit ship. Okay, the warrior is just another word for the drones, so I'm going to put that up here as well. Actually, I'm gonna put the dark alien in front of all these things, and then these three, the drone, red, and warrior, are all basically just equally powered warrior drones, so those are perfect there. Okay, the bull alien was like a facehugger and cattle, so it's basically a cattle Xeno, a bull Xeno. It's pretty freaking fast, evidently, and big enough, strong enough, and quick enough to like throw over a vehicle, plus it's basically invincible from impact. Like a rocket launcher hits it in the face and barely does anything to it. It doesn't phase it at all. The only way to kill it is essentially with fire, so I guess it depends if the guy in your squad still has his flamethrower or not. But either way, I feel like this thing in a hallway, well, to be honest, bulls aren't like the best, most agile creatures. If this thing's huge in a hallway, then it may have a very difficult time like being agile, like keeping up with a human. If it's out in the open, you're gonna be in a lot more trouble. I'm legitimately, and I feel silly for this, gonna put this under slim chance, because I feel like just based on the lack of maneuverability on a bull, then it must transfer over to a bull Xeno at least a little bit. I'm gonna put this thing ahead of the drones though, for sure. Okay, the anchor point Xenomorph was born in a very different way, like a horrifying way that would be crazy to see in movies. Like instead of a chest burster busting out, the entire creature just like busted out of the lady, like she was, like it was wearing her as some freaking skin suit. It's pretty terrifying and kills some people, but in the end, a standard Xeno warrior kills it. So it's able to be torn apart rather easily by one of these guys, which makes me think it's not the most bulletproof creature ever, which makes me think that there's a chance as a colonial marine, a well-armed one, you could just spray it down with some bullets. So I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it between the Neomorph and the Rudder, because I feel like the Neomorph might have had some tricks up his sleeve we just didn't see. Okay, the Mantis, there's not much information on the Xenomantis. I do have it as a toy, but I lost its head, but it kind of fits the lore, because wouldn't like his wife just eat the head anyways? Bugs are crazy as hell, dude. But like, if you look at the thing, the example of it, these freaking appendages stretch out like the size of its body length. Plus its feet too. It's like, it's pretty leggy. Plus, seeing as how praying mantises are one of like the apex killers of the bug life, I'm going to assume it basically just enhances it into a monster. But bugs are also dumb as hell and will often just let a praying mantis grab them. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put this one under slim chance as well, because I feel like they're mostly ambush predators. As long as you don't get ambushed, you should be good. I'm putting this one ahead of the bull though, because in like their department, mantises are better killers than bulls. Okay, the Octo Queen, to my understanding, it's basically somewhat of a dragon. It's basically a flying, what I believe to be 8-limbed Queen Xenomorph, which is just insane. I am going to put that above the queens under game over, man, because it's a flying queen. I mean, it just seems logically harder to escape and better at killing in many ways. Okay, the vampire queen was from a crazy comic. This sucker is a flying queen, but also like has slight vampire powers. So yeah, I'm not really sure. I haven't read the comic how that plays into it, but it does list that it's a flying queen Xeno with vampire genetics, which makes me think that it's the best queen necessarily. I still don't know if it's better than the king, because the king's freaking huge. I don't know, I mean, vampires, maybe the king's got some Van Helsing in him. I don't know. I feel like that's where it belongs. Okay, the alpha, I believe, is like a face hugger and some sort of mountain goat, like based on its giant headpiece. It's like kind of a giveaway as well. This is supposed to be about as big as a Praetorian. I don't really know much more about this creature, the alpha, but just based off the fact that it's about the size of the Praetorian, which is like 10 feet tall, I'm gonna put it under here for sure. Still at the bottom, I think that like the Tarkatan's still a beefcake, the Predalien is still a huge beefcake, and so forth. So I'll put alpha at the end. Okay, the aquatic Xeno, I believe, is just like, because they're all generally aquatic, they're like serpents, but this one had like more of the anatomy of a sea creature. It was unable to even go on land. It was just like built for faster swimming. It's pretty freaking deadly. I suppose in this situation where in the water you're not going to survive, but like on land necessarily you have no chance of dying. So, and honestly in the water you could probably still shoot it. I'm not sure the effects of its blood leaking into the water and mixing or any of that, but I'll just put it under slim chance and under warrior too, because the dude, like, he's got no legs, I'm pretty sure. Okay, the Empress is like a more evolved version of the Queen, so she's above the Queens for sure. She only answers to the Queen Mother. The thing is, she, I don't know if she's better than the King. The King is about the size of Queens, I suppose, just more built for combat. It like spits acid and stuff as well. So if it's about the size of the Queens and the Empress only listens to or only takes orders from the Queen Mother, I'm assuming the Empress goes above the King. Oh, that's confusing, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, so 7 is like a normal Xeno, but more intelligent, which makes it infinitely more deadly. And the regular drones are already under slim chance, so I'm assuming 7 in a one-on-one, a much more intelligent drone. An intelligent, like a far more intelligent Xenomorph just sounds horrifying. So I'll put you here, but I'll put you at the bottom. Okay, a gorilla Xeno, pretty standard. Bro, what happens when a facehugger gets a hold of a gorilla? I'm gonna go ahead and put this one under slim chance, right before aquatic. Actually, in front of the drones behind the bull. Actually, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna leave it there. These don't all require a bunch of explaining, or the video is gonna be an hour long. That's where I'd put it. You have a slim chance of surviving a Xeno gorilla, but only slim. It's very situational. Okay, the irradiated Xeno, which is literally nuked till it glows. It's just a glowing post-apocalyptic Xeno. This thing's crazy, but it's got like CO2 blood. Like if you cut it or make it bleed, then it shoots out stuff that will instantly liquid nitrogen freeze your body parts or whatever. They'll just like fall right off. That's not much better than acid blood though that leaks through you. It seems just about just as bad. So I'll just put these with the other drones, as that's basically what it is. But it's just different in like slightly different ways, but it's about the same. Okay, the Necromorph is disgusting. It's covered in like legions and other stuff that could like pulse and pop and let out disease that gives you like cellular necrosis. Plus it has the ability to just kind of like expel a black gas that spreads the same necrosis and stuff. It's literally a freaking walking plague. I'm actually convinced this thing, once it gets on the ship, everyone's gonna die horrible, horrible, horrible deaths. Like arguably worse than a chest burster coming out of you. I'm actually gonna put this one up here. I'm gonna put it right below the Predalien, because the other ones will just like squash you, the ones below it, but this, the Necromorph, it's gonna be a horrible death. Okay, the Winter Beast is basically a Xenomorph, just instead of off a human, it's like some weird 4-legged alien creature. I don't know. They don't seem that crazy and there's not much information listed with them, but it is still like a standard like warrior, I suppose. So I'll still put it here. I'll put it above aquatic because it's on land. It could get you, but it doesn't seem that special. The freaking K series, I'm pretty sure, were Xenomorphs made by humans in order to like combat other Xenos or in an effort to like control them. They got into a full all-out war with the natural born Xenos, but the natural warriors freaking decimated the hell out of them and killed them all. So that means like logically they're weaker than standard Xenomorphs, which makes me kind of want to put them down here under good odds. I feel like we could kill them if we really work together. Okay, the tusks were like special Xenos used by predators as like hunting dogs and such, which makes me think they have a lot less intelligence and they're primarily just used for, well, hunting basically. But like on their own without a leader, they're just basically rabbit attack dogs. They'd have zero organization or intelligence. They'd be pretty easy to freaking kill, I'm assuming. So I'm gonna put these ones right by the runners. I classify them the same. And then the arachnoid was a special kind of drone. Words are so difficult. That was like an ambush predator, like it could play dead for days at a time and all this kind of stuff, just specifically to ambush people. Making it far more deadly is something you'd underestimate greatly. So I'm gonna put that under slim chance as well. So I'm gonna put it above the drones and under irradiated. I don't know. I feel like you'll see the irradiated one glowing down the hallway and you can just shoot it a bunch. This one will get you. The arachnoid. Okay, the deacon shark. Pretty scary creature. It's basically like a deacon combined with a shark. It's not very complex. In the comics, they kill a bunch of them pretty effortlessly because they're still just like sharks. I don't know. Good odds. If these are all you gotta survive, you have a chance. I'll put it behind the deacon because it's in the water. Okay, the goddess. The goddess of Xenomorphs, it's just like a voice that appeared in the head of multiple people as they had a facehugger attached to them and they were like out in that unconscious trance. But it seems to be the being of darkness, the all-around ending, like the big answer to the question of where's this story gonna go. Eventually, humans will have to like bow down or submit to the Xenos, and it will be at the hand of the Xeno goddess. I'm actually going to go ahead and put her at the highest thing in this entire thing, the most dangerous. She's some like being we know nothing about and only are like like not even sure she exists, but she's the ultimate darkness in the universe. And she's got boobs, so come on. Okay, the jockey was like an engineer mixed with a Xeno. It's freaking huge, dude. It's legitimately bigger than Queens, I'm pretty sure, which puts me in a very difficult situation. This thing is a monster, and the Queens aren't actually that beefy. They're not like, they're just big, but like this thing is huge, like ridiculously huge. The engineers were giant, so like you got to imagine, like the standard Queens are made from like drones with facehuggers and humans. Those are like human related Queens, but the jockey is freaking engineer related, which are like 15 feet tall. This is going to be a hot take. Let me know down below if I'm super wrong, but I'm actually gonna put that above the Queens just because she's huge. Like the jockey's huge. I feel like the jockey would rip the Queens in half, dude. Okay, Scorched is the Xenomorph from Alien Romulus. It's nicknamed that because like the dude, I'm pretty sure it's because he stuck his zapper up in the cocoon and basically scorched the dude, and like the Xenomorph had burn marks for the rest of the movie. Pretty damn cool Xeno, but it's basically just a regular drone, just had a very interesting birthing process, but it doesn't do anything that horrifyingly scary. It was a perfect movie. I loved it dearly, but I'm gonna dial this thing up as just under a regular drone, right? Maybe ahead of the irradiated and the arachnoid, maybe even the gorilla, but I think I'd still rather face this than the bull for sure. Okay, the mutated monkey, pretty interesting stuff. I don't know much about it, but it's essentially a mutated monkey. And like a chimpanzee, a regular chimpanzee could possibly kill a person on its own. This thing in a 1v1 would actually be horrifying. If this thing got onto you in a hallway or something, I think I'd rather fight it than the aquatic and possibly even the winter beast. It's like silly because it's small, but monkeys could be so violent, dude. Okay, the Palatine are like the royal guards for the Queen Mother, the toughest Xenos in the universe, meant to guard the holiest Xeno in the universe. I'm gonna put them under the king. Before, the jockey's kind of crazy to me, but they're like the guards for the Queen Mother. They're special in so many ways. Okay, a Xeno snake, terrifying. It's got like the longest extendo mouth in the franchise, and it spits venom. And not just venom, that acid xenomorph stuff, which is just crazy. It's essentially a giant Xeno king cobra. Pretty freaking scary, but extremely not bulletproof and not very agile or intelligent. I'm gonna put you under good survival odds, but I'll put it behind the tusk in front of the deacon. Okay, the Berserker is like a Xenomorph and one of the giant alpha predators. It's like on par with the Predalien pretty much. So that's basically where I'm gonna put it. We're giving the Predalien giant amounts of respect in this video because it's just such a badass. Okay, the Bloodburster is actually a baby neomorph. It's the thing that pops out of that dude's back in Alien Prometheus, which was gnarly as hell. Like the other one comes out of the guy's mouth. You think the back dude's got it bad till the other one comes out of the dude's mouth. Either way, this sucker, it only kills a woman because it's locked in a room with her, and she kind of slipped on the dude's blood, and the guy she didn't really have a weapon either. The creature just like pounced on her. The other woman, the other crewmate got her killed. Basically, I'm pretty sure I can kill this thing. Like, well armed, you can definitely take it out. I'm putting it ahead of the ahead of the chest burster, because that's basically like the Deacon Shark in the water has a better chance of killing you than the Bloodburster does on land. Okay, the Crystallis are pretty freaking huge and scary and are very armored and have the ability to roll at you like a freaking droidica. Basically, just a very beefed out armored xenomorph, which it like greatly minimizes your chance for survival. So we're putting that under Game Over Man for sure, because bullets aren't going to stop it. Nothing you have is really going to stop it. I'll put it above 7. Okay, Razor Claws is just an extremely well-armed xenomorph, just like much more deadly in multiple ways than a standard drone. I'm putting that one up here as well, but I'm putting it behind 7 because it's not like the smartest. It's just super deadly in other ways. So I suppose anything, a warrior, any of these, once they get their hands on you, you're basically dead no matter what. So the whole job is not getting their hands on you. So I'm actually going to demote this down to where the drones are. Once any of them touch you, you're going to die, but you can shoot it. You can shoot it and kill it. There's a slim chance with this one, so I messed up. Razor Claws goes there. Now, the Spider Queen, there's not much information about this. It's like from a Judge Dredd comic. Judge Dredd's freaking crazy. Got my Judge Dredd helmet back there because, like, the best franchise ever. But the Spider Queen is meant to be well bigger than a queen. I'm 99% certain. Almost 100%. She's freaking ginormous and she's a giant spider. I'm putting her above even the Jockey, which is just crazy, but I'm doing it. Actually, even above the Palatine. She belongs there. I'm pretty sure she's freaking huge, dude. She's just huge. Okay, then we got the Xenoborg, which is a cyborg, which implies that it's both flesh and robotic, which is like what it basically is. This thing's deadly as hell. Evidently, it takes a minute to start up, but once it gets going, its weaponry will just vaporize anything in front of it remotely. I'm actually gonna put this thing up here under freaking basically unstoppable, right behind the Berserker. If that thing sees you, you're gonna die, because any weapon you got, this thing's got better weapons. Rogue was a genetically engineered king Xeno that was meant to bring order and such to the hive. It went to challenge a queen and lost the battle, but it's still a freaking beast and like huge. So I'm gonna put it under game over, man. I'm gonna put it right in front of the Predalien, because it's still a huge killing machine. It can still take on many things. If it sees us, you're gonna die, but queens do kill it. Okay, the Scorpion is pretty standard also. But usually with an animal, it's pretty standard what they are. It's a Xenomorph mixed with a Scorpion. That is still deadly as hell, but the thing is, the only addition it really has, amongst other things, is just a giant stinger tail. But the thing is, if you get stabbed with even a regular Xenomorph tail, you're gonna die. It's so freaking, it's just a giant, incredibly powerful weapon. So I'm still gonna put this thing with the other drones, basically. I'll put it in front of the standard ones, right behind the Razor Claw, but it's still not much difference. Monica was a Xenomorph that was birthed in a crazy way, like with this woman who did a whole bunch of awful stuff. The Xenomorph did possess some special things, being a little more durable and that kind of stuff, evidently, but in the end, it was still brought down by gunfire from Colonial Marines, which is what the perspective of this video is about. So this one's going right under the drones as well, maybe in front of the other ones because it was a little more durable, but not enough to survive the Colonial Marines. The Protomorph, the main alien from Prometheus at the end, was pretty freaking awesome, but evidently it will attack other Xenomorphs. Like it doesn't see them as family, and it's also less intelligent than the standard drone Xenomorph. So it's pretty damn scary, but it goes under the standard warriors because it's not as it's stupid. Okay, now the newborn is a sticky situation because we didn't actually see this thing grow up. We only saw it in its baby form. It did do some pretty horrible things to some people, and it was only brought down because Ripley was being hella sneaky with it. I'm gonna put this thing under slim chance because it's not the quickest. Like, it didn't show much agility. If you run, you should be able to get away from it. So I'm gonna put it under or behind the Scorpion. Okay, the white hybrids were like these creatures that were like xenomorph, predators, and humans all in one. They were big and muscular and shared traits of all of them, but most importantly, they were capable of utilizing weaponry, which I feel like is just crazy. So I'm gonna actually put these things, and this may be political, at game over, man, ahead of the Predalien. Like, no chance of surviving them whatsoever, because it's the worst of all three. It's basically a Predalien, but able to use weapons and a little smarter. It's just all around death, bro. Then we have the Hybrid King, which is very complex. Like, it's just a bigger, more muscular version of the hybrids, but it's also epic in many ways. And I think it may legitimately be better than the Rogue Human King because it's just smarter and also has the ability to use weapons, which is just a total game changer, bro. Okay, now we have a run of some Xeno animals: the rhino, elephant, bear, pig, deer, and bug. I made up pig. I think I'm dyslexic. These are pretty self-explanatory. Like, they're not the most intense things. I think all of them generally you have a slim chance of survival. It just really depends on the situation. The bug I'm gonna put under good odds for sure because it's just a bug for the most part. Still the Xeno, but you know what I mean. The rhino, oh, slim chance. I know it's silly having the rhino here and the bull so far. I guess the bull should be way more down. It's more just the experiences with the bull making it seem so freaking invincible in so many ways. I actually just had to look into this a little bit because I forgot the rhino is actually impervious to fire and gunfire. The only way to kill it is with ice. I don't necessarily think the Colonial Marines would be armed with an ice beam on this mission because, like, how would you know that's coming ahead of time? So I'm actually gonna put this sucker under game over, man. I've never even thought to equip an ice beam in this situation, but where in game over would it go? Possibly ahead of... Actually, I don't know, maybe at the bottom. It is still not that smart. The elephant was freaking massive, but it didn't have any special complications, I'm pretty damn sure. But it is still a freaking elephant Xeno, so I'm gonna put it ahead of the scorched one behind the bull. The bear, I'm actually going to do the same freaking thing, because it's an elephant and a bear Xeno, bro. They're both giant predator monsters. The deer, however, I will say there's a chance of escaping. Not just that, but a necessarily good chance. Not the best chance, however. It still is a pretty scary thing. I'm actually gonna put it at the very tip top of the good odds section. Okay, the spiked is horrifying. It honestly confuses me because I almost want to put it ahead of the queens. It's so massive and it shoots these giant spikes that just bomb with acidic spray. It's horrible in every way. But not just this, it's so freaking huge and just based off of like it's absolutely game over, man. But it's so big that I feel like it has to actually go in front of the queens. Like it's so huge, bro. I feel like you have a better chance of escaping the queens, even a flying one. Maybe not a vampire flying one, however. So I'll put it there. Okay, the flying drone, you have a chance of surviving it, but still just a slim chance. I will put it at one of the, the foremost front of these. Possibly, yeah, right behind the gorilla, because it's still just a drone. It's easy to shoot down. It's hard to sneak up on people when you're flying because you're coming from an open airspace, so it's killable, but it's also dangerous. Okay, the crested, also weirdly enough, is huge. It's almost a freaking kaiju. I'm actually putting it right behind the spiked because it's so freaking big and just so horrifying monstrous that I'm pretty sure it could just roll over a queen. Absolutely no issue. Then you have the actual standard flying queen, which isn't like an octo queen with 8 limbs and isn't like a vampire queen with vampire abilities, just literally a flying queen. Nothing else much to it. So she goes up in game over, man, for sure. Right in front of all the other queens, right behind these other weirdos. Okay, next we've got a line of Xenos from when Batman ran into these troubled bastards. The crocodile one, I'm going game over. It's a monster. It's a giant creature. It'll rip you apart. It honestly might go ahead. It's gonna go ahead of the Necromorph. The Xenoborg just has such a heavy arsenal, it's hard to beat. Most of these Batman ones, Scarecrow I'm putting under good odds. A lot of them died very stupid deaths, like accidentally affecting each other negatively in combat. They weren't very intelligent. The Harvey Dent one, however, was specifically very intelligent, right behind the Razor Claws. He's smarter than the Razor Claws, but the dude's got Razor Claws. Scarecrow, I'm putting you in front of the runner. That's respect right there. You can still survive that sucker though. You can survive most of these. Mr. Freeze putting you in the same spot, you could survive them. Joker's Xenomorph did have the ability to spit acid because they relate acid with the Joker. It's like his whole je ne sais quoi. But he's still like freaking, you can just shoot the hell out of him. I'm pretty sure bullets will reach farther than his acid. So I'm actually going to put him here as well, but I'll put him ahead of the other ones. Same with Poison Ivy. I'll put her right here. She's also survivable. Killer Croc, however, he is the plot twist. Killer Croc is like a freaking kaiju in that comic. He actually is an unstoppable monster. He's going in front of the other Croc. Actually, call me crazy. I'm putting Killer Croc, honestly, ahead of the Matriarch. Ahead of... Am I putting her ahead of all the queens? I think I am, dude. The Killer Croc one is just so troublingly big. I feel like she'd eat the queens. Honestly, I'm putting it ahead of those two. And the Vampire Queen, maybe even ahead of the Jockey. That's political as hell, but I've done it. Okay, the rest of these are from Fireteam Elites, a very awesome game. Actually, Titan is from, what's that other Xenomorph game? Okay, a Crusher, super difficult, but a freaking Colonial Marine squad could take it out, absolutely. If they work together and focus their fire in a very awesome way, I'm gonna put it ahead of the Irradiated because it is still like heavily bulletproof and just very durable. The Praetorian you can really only kill if like all your buddies are spraying it too, and even then you gotta really work together on that one. If it's a very hard game mode, you won't survive it. I'm gonna put this one above the Scorched. You have a chance, but a slim chance. The Prowler, your odds are good. If they jump on you, they'll do some mad damage. If your teammates shoot it, it'll bleed acid blood on you, but it's survivable. It's tougher than the runner as well. The Burster, absolutely good odds. Just don't let it freaking burst on you. So ahead of the runner, good odds of surviving. The Spitter, honestly, with the right, like, firepower, you could put it down before it spits on you and just basically kills you. I'm putting this sucker ahead of the Prowler because it could still, if it spits on you, you're still gonna freaking die. A horrible death. Okay, the Titan, the biggest Xenomorph, I'm pretty sure. It's like way bigger than queens. It might be, I don't know, like the Queen Mother. There's other stuff that might titan over it, but it's pretty freaking huge. It's from like something birthing with an ancient citizen. Doesn't have legs or anything, but it's still like, it's got like the longest extendo mouth and it still crawls at you, but it's just gonna crawl after you. You could escape it. You've got a chance. If it gets closer in a close vicinity with you though, you're dead as hell. But again, it's not very fast. It doesn't have legs. I'm gonna put this sucker at the very front of good odds. Okay, the Pathogens from the Fireteam Elite DLC, which was pretty freaking sexy. The Pathogen Brute is basically just like a Praetorian, but like a Praetorian power level. Essentially, it's a big brutish bastard that'll kill you very easy if he gets a hold of you. But the weapons provided for the freaking Colonial Marines does give you a pretty fair chance, but a slim chance. Okay, a Pathogen Runner, basically the regular runner, but it's pathogen-y, so I'm gonna put it right behind the regular runner. There's a good chance. It can't handle many bullets. The pathogen ones, I'm gonna put that right with the drones as well, because it's not really anything super special. It's just like pathogen-y. I will put it ahead of the Protomorph though, because the Protomorph is dumb as hell, but there is still a slim chance you can survive it, just the same as any other drone. And the Pathogen Queen, I'm not sure exactly how strong she is. She's pretty freaking killable in the game, but she's still awesome. She's still a queen. She's just like affected and mutated in different ways, but she doesn't have anything that specifically makes her better than the other queens. I'm gonna put her behind the Matriarch, because the Matriarch from AVP is still a badass. She's a queen, the Pathogen one. You will have a very difficult time surviving her. It is still game over, but she's not better than the other queens. All right, and there's the list. If I had any issues with this, like if I said some wrong stuff, it's entirely possible. The lore behind this stuff is crazy, and there's so much to it. Let me know down below so I can make adjustments in my brain so I'm not walking around with like wrong information in my head. This feels at least like 95% accurate though. I want to say 100, but nothing's 100. Either way though, leave a like on the video because a lot of work went into this and I'll appreciate it a bunch. Let me know what you think down below and I'll see you next time.